Is Adam Gorney with the rival signing day coverage, continuing with South Carolina coach Shane Beamer. And Shane, back in the office, that seems nice than being back on the road. I've followed you through social media, probably a little too closely, but what has the month been like, just going everywhere and seeing everybody and really getting after it?
It's been great. Certainly really, really busy, a lot of traveling, a lot of airplanes, rental cars and whatnot. But as you know, it's January because of the way the recruiting calendar has changed, especially with head coaches. January is really the only month we're able to get out on the road recruiting, and thankful that we're able to actually have in-person communication and sit down with prospects and their families when we go into school. So it's been awesome. Was able to get out on the road and see a ton of really good players, really good people from really good families, and talk about Gamecock football and love that aspect of the job. But certainly it's great to be back in Columbia and able to really get around your own team now, because we really haven't had a chance to do that 5 days a week like we are now since the players got back in January.
When you go to Destin for SEC meetings or whenever you guys meet and talk, what would be the right calendar for you? What would be the right windows for portal? Do you want one signing day? Do you want it in December? I mean, what would be the kind of the situation that seems best? Because it just seems like the windows are kind of screwed up. You're on the road and then you come back for another portal window. What do you think works?
Yeah, it's fascinating. There's so many ideas out there, and we have an SEC head coaches group text, and there's a lot of ideas that get thrown out on that. And someone, whether it be on that text or something that I read that another coach says nationally or athletic director, and I'm like, that makes sense. And then I hear something else, and I'm like, oh, I see why that doesn't make sense, and this makes sense. So there's a lot of ideas out there. We have some in-person meetings coming up in a couple of weeks as head coaches here in this league. We have our conference meetings in May down in Destin. You're right. And that'll be a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. And I'm not trying to dodge the question. I have ideas and thoughts on all of them. One thing I'm definitely in favor of is I love the early signing period in December. I thought that's great because it allows you to get your high school signing class signed before the portal opens up. So I'm certainly in favor of that, without a doubt. And I believe that there should be, in my opinion, one portal window. No one's saying that guys can't transfer. We've benefited from the transfer portal. So I'm certainly not anti-portal by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't believe that we need two portal windows. One that's, I think, 4 weeks long in the wintertime, and then another one that's 10 days long in the springtime. I'd love to see one, and when that is, we can debate, but definitely in favor of just one portal window. And I do like the early signing period.
It would be very helpful if you add my number to that SEC text message chain, because I won't write a thing. I just want to see what's being said. But
yeah, be careful what you wish for, I would say.
Right. Oh, I'm sure. LaNorris Sellers, just his progression, what he can do for recruiting for you guys. You got a portal quarterback. Can he be kind of a lefty LaNorris Sellers? And not to top on that, but just keeping relationships going and how important they are, not only in recruiting, but also as this portal opens up, knowing guys from 2 or 3 years ago that it didn't work out somewhere else.
Yeah. In regards to LaNorris, really proud of the progress he made in year one, coming in. It's only his second year of playing college football, and to see where he was at the beginning of the season and how he progressed and to where he was playing at the end of the season. He was, in my opinion, playing as well as any quarterback in the country at the end of the season. And he'll be the first to tell you that he's got a lot to improve on. He's a great young man with great humility and is really working hard in order to do that. And certainly, he helps from a recruiting standpoint, he being our quarterback, but then just the way that we played the last half of the season. Certainly we were already on the national stage, but there were a lot of people talking about South Carolina football without a doubt at the end of the season. And relationships are huge. It's a key component of what this program is about, the relationships with one another in this building, the relationships in recruiting, and understanding that a guy, he may not come to your school out of high school, but if a guy calls and tells you he's going somewhere else, we wish him well, and we're disappointed, but not mad at a guy ever. And that because let's face it, a lot of times now guys go to a school and it ends up not being what they think it's going to be. And then they're looking for a new home shortly thereafter. And we've benefited from that. Some guys that just joined our program in January that we recruited out of high school, we didn't get, but after 1 year or one semester at the school they chose, they decided to enter the portal and come to us. And that's something that we certainly want to, treat people the right way, because we say it all the time in our program: be who you say you are. And we are who we are. And we treat you the way we treat you in recruiting. That's who we are. And we don't change when guys become members of our program.
Everybody's going to recruit their home state. I mean, it's just natural. It's just part of recruiting. But you guys went nuts there this year, 13, I think, from South Carolina. And especially talk about that receiver class, because from Gidron to Donovan Murph to Malik Clark, just a special group. And you seem to get them all.
Yeah, Jaden Sellers, LaNorris' brother, and Ryan Rowe from right across the state line up in the outside Charlotte, and then Lex Cyrus from Pennsylvania. That group I'm really excited about. So first of all, with the state of South Carolina, it always starts with South Carolina for us. And I've said it so many times, and I'll continue to say it. When I was here as an assistant coach with Steve Spurrier, we were winning at a high level, and we were doing it with primarily guys from the state of South Carolina. So that's always where we're going to start. There's great players in this state. There's great programs, great coaching, great communities. And it means something to young men when they come and play for the University of South Carolina when they're from this state. So we always want to do that. And not everybody is not every player is just an automatic, everybody in the country's after them, this is a 5-star, Adam. I mean, you got to do a good job in this state of projecting and looking at guys and saying, okay, how are they going to be in 2 or 3 years when they get into our program and our nutrition and program and strength and conditioning program, and being able to do that with guys. And we've done a good job of that as well. So really it just kind of happened this year that there were some guys, a lot of them we had in camp back in the summertime, and maybe didn't have any offers or very few. That happened with a young man a couple of years ago by the name of Nicky Manwari. And he's probably getting ready to be a first-round draft pick in April. And he's a guy from the state of South Carolina that came to our camp with, I don't think, any offers when he came. So trust our evaluation and develop guys. That's what we're trying to do. And then with the receiver corps specifically, really excited about him. Mike Furry, our receivers coach, came in and did an unbelievable job. That was a room that just frankly we hadn't recruited very well in from the high school ranks, and we needed more impactful guys there. And nothing, and don't take that the wrong way. I'm not saying that the guys we brought in weren't good players, but we just hadn't developed them like we needed to. And we had relied on some guys that were already in our program when we got here: Xavier Leggett, Jalen Brooks, people like that, and some transfer portal guys. But in regards to the players that we brought in, we needed to develop them. And Mike, did a great job of developing the players that were in our program this past season and helping them. Another South Carolina guy like Mazio Bennett, who played as a true freshman and had a really good year, that Mike did a good job developing. And then the way that he hit the ground running and recruiting, he was an absolute animal when it came to recruiting this year. And he said it when he got the job that, in his opinion, the best receivers in America should want to come play for the University of South Carolina. And he took that to heart, and that's the way that he worked in recruiting since he got here, and it showed with the group that we brought in.
Last thing, Shane, and everybody kind of tries to find a niche or try to find an angle to recruit. And I've seen today, at least, that some 2026 videos from you have come up, and just talk about that and how important. And maybe, fans don't even realize just how important kind of reaching out to kids and social media is in today's day and age of recruiting, and how that can get kids and flip them and keep them and all those kinds of things.
Yeah. As you know, you've been doing this for a long time. Like, the recruiting never stops. And I laugh when people talk about, well, it's the off season and you just got done with signing day and recruiting, and when you get started on next year's class and all that. And I mean, we're full speed ahead on the class of 2027, much less the 26s. But certainly, I think people lose sight. Yes, it's a different time now in college athletics because of the transfer portal and NIL, that maybe the relationship aspect of it has lessened. I disagree. There's still a relationship aspect of it. And that's what we're trying to do, is just reach out with young men and have a personal connection. And we're big on relationships, whether it be during the recruiting process or when they get here as well. And it's a really good group of 2026s that we are recruiting right now that I've seen over the last month, back in January, going out to see so many of them. And as those videos say, we're full speed ahead on the class of 26 now. And we're in a really good position with a lot of them because of the work that we put into recruiting them and developing relationships with them over the last year or 2 years, depending on who they are.
Recruiting never stops. That's why I look like this, Shane. It's very depressing. It's sad. It's sad, but I appreciate you. Yeah, same. I appreciate you coming on, Shane.
You got it, my man. Appreciate all you do for college athletics. Talk to you soon.